Police in South Africa say they will not move to arrest former President Jacob Zuma until he has exhausted every legal avenue in his efforts to evade a jail sentence. Mr. Zuma is refusing to hand himself in after the country's constitutional court sentenced him to 15 months in jail after finding him guilty of contempt for refusing to attend a corruption hearing. He's now awaiting a High Court decision on his appeal against arrest. Speaking to hundreds of supporters outside his home, the former president claimed there was no need for him to go to jail and asked them to protest peacefully in order to avoid a violent confrontation with police.
I call on all my supporters to use peaceful means to protest against this injustice. I really must be clear. I'm not asking for sympathy, but justice.
Let's get more from DW correspondent Christine Mundwa, who joins us from outside the High Court in Pietermaritzburg. Welcome, Christine. Jacob Zuma is asking the High Court to dismiss a sentence imposed by the Constitutional Court. So which of these courts is more important?
Well, it will definitely be the Constitutional Court. That is the court that handed down that guilty verdict of him being in contempt of court and, of course, gave him that 15-month jail sentence. Now, in the hours after that particular judgment was handed down, his lawyers approached that court, this Constitutional Court, and asked for it to review the case. He said that it was effectively a death sentence, sending him to prison at his advanced age. He is 79 years old. He's believed to have some medical conditions, and he said that he hadn't received a COVID-19 vaccination, and sending him to prison at the height of the pandemic, really, we're in the third wave here in South Africa, was tantamount to giving him the death sentence. And then he came to this court and asked this court to have the police halt the order to arrest him. And that is what the judge will be hearing in this court here today. But certainly the court that takes precedence is the Constitutional Court, Phil.
Right. And so how do legal scholars rate his chances? Which way do they think the High Court's likely to go?
Well, many legal experts that I've been listening to are of the view that this court is going to possibly throw out and dismiss the former President Zuma's application on the basis that it does not have the authority and the jurisdiction to overrule the Constitutional Court. Of course, that is widely expected to be the outcome here, but of course, it remains to be seen, Phil.
So he's making his request to the court virtually from his home in KwaZulu-Natal, where hundreds of his supporters have gathered. That sounds like quite a tense situation.
That's right, Phil. Of course, we've been hearing from the police ministry that some of his supporters, for instance, who were gathered outside his home over the weekend on Sunday when we were there, many of them were armed. And that is certainly the fear here that any escalation could result in a serious outbreak of violence. I'm outside the Pietermaritzburg High Court, and a number of his supporters had already come here to dance and sing. As you can see behind me, just over my shoulder, a contingency of police officers. They're armed with rubber bullets, firearms, and essentially they're ready. They have dispersed for the media right in the last few minutes. They've dispersed a crowd that was of people that were gathered here. So the feeling is that this is a very tense situation. If you listen to Zuma supporters, they're using sort of very serious language. They're saying that we're going to fight till the end, we're going to die in defense of our president. So that is the understanding, that nobody wants to really escalate the situation here. Nobody wants to see a confrontation between the police and supporters of the former president. So in Nkandla they're gathered. They're also here, and there are heavy police presence because police have also come under scrutiny for not clamping down on the supporters of the former president. Legal gatherings, public gatherings, are not legal at the moment because of the COVID-19 pandemic restrictions. And so police have really been taken to task as to why they're not dispersing crowds, why they're not breaking up these gatherings by the supporters of former President Jacob Zuma, and the police minister telling us that he did not want to escalate the situation. But the outcome of this court really will give a direction as to how the police then act, because they are also under an order to arrest the former president if he fails to hand himself in. So they have until Wednesday midnight to do that. The police minister has indicated that he's going to wait for the outcome of this particular court before taking any action. Phil?
OK. Christine Mundwa in Pietermaritzburg, thank you so much.